Hello, I'm Brendan. I wanted to show you how to make a workbench today that lifts out of the way so you can park a car beneath it without disrupting your projects. To begin with, let's look at the bench structure itself. There's U-bolts and the 2x12s that actually make up the bench. The U-bolts are drilled through the 2x12s and 2x6s below in order to hold the bench and make the structure. You can see that beneath, the U-bolts go through and are bolted with a strap and nuts that make up the lifting portion of the bench. One trick I use to keep the U-bolts from protruding through the bench when you're using the bench was to cut slots in the 2x12s so that when there's no weight on the bench and they're not being supported by the cables, the U-bolts drop down into the grooves and aren't protruding through the surface. Let's talk about the wire ropes I used. It's 3/16 inch wire rope with ferrules and eyelets, and I got the ferrules and eyelets at a local hardware store. To crush the ferrules, I used a small sledgehammer and an anvil I have, but any hard surface will work. Concrete's fine. To get these ferrules onto the cable, take the long end of the wire rope or the cable and send it through, and then just loop it back. It takes a little doing. It's not the easiest thing, but it'll work. Once you get it like that, put your eyelet in place and then slide the ferrule up tight by squeezing the wire rope and get it all snug. You're probably going to want to move this end back and move it around a little bit, but you can always cut this off later. Once you have that in place, get a sledgehammer and smash the ferrule down flat. Try not to hit the eyelet, you just want to hit the ferrule. That's all there is to it. Some people put 2 on there, and you can feel free to do that. They're only about $1 a piece. As the bench travels up and down, the wire ropes move through a series of 4 pulleys that are mounted directly above the U-bolts. This allows for unbalanced loads to be lifted up and down without the table tipping to one side or the other. Let's talk about the roof pulley system next. You'll notice that the connection hardware travels from the pulley system all the way back to the winch that's mounted on the wall. That distance has to be at least as much as from the ceiling joist to the ground, or you won't be able to lift your table all the way up and set it on the floor. Setting it on the floor allows you to roll things onto it and then lift them out of the way all the way up to the ceiling so a car can park beneath. To anchor the winch to the wall, I used 4-inch bolts, and then to reinforce that, I added some strapping around and I screwed 3-inch wood screws into the studs. The winch itself is rated to 1,000 pounds, and I'm comfortable that the winch will fail to lift any load before the rest of the structure fails. You may want to get an engineer involved in this if you're not comfortable with those kind of dynamics. I think I built the whole system for under $300, certainly for under $500. We use it all the time, and my wife regularly parks her car beneath the bench even when we have a project on it. The thing works great. So listen, have fun, be careful, use all the appropriate safety equipment, and good luck.